And here we go. We are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Housekeepers Podcast. I am battling what only can be called a cold. Have colds actually come back? I think their colds are making a comeback. Like the flu's making a comeback. Like you can now say, if you're feeling under the weather, it's not, it used to be if you sneezed in public, you had to declare not COVID, I don't know. Anyway, Housekeepers Podcast. A little bit of a head cold, but we're going to get through it. This will be, I guarantee, the cleanest hour in podcasting. Our great guest today, Amy. How do you say your last name? Is it DeVries?
DeVries. Yep.
Oh, that's pretty close. DeVries.
You're close. Yeah.
DeVries with Emily's Cleaning in Utica, New York. Why Emily's Cleaning? Who's Emily?
Me.
Amy.
My real name's Elizabeth Emily.
Oh, really?
Amy's a nickname.
I don't know anybody named Elizabeth that has a nickname Amy. You're my first person.
Amy Beth is my nickname.
Amy Beth, the AB.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I know a lot of Liz's, Libby's.
No. So when I was doing the name for the business, I thought Amy's kind of boring. Elizabeth is too long. I thought Emily's got a nice ring to it. So
yeah, Emily's does have a nice ring
old-fashioned sound. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say like it's a daughter or a grandmother or a mom. No, it's yours.
It's me.
Middle name, Emily. E-E-D.
Yes.
Well, welcome to the Housekeepers Podcast. I'm happy to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Way up there. How is the weather today?
Cold.
You're in upstate New York.
We're in the 30s.
Is it
windy.
snowing though?
Not today. Not yet.
Is there any snow on the ground?
Up where I live, yes. Down here, no.
Oh. Where do you don't live where you are right now?
Mm-mm. No, I live about half an hour away.
Oh, so not too far. Is that where you grew up? In Utica?
No, well, close. I grew up in Cedarville. I'm originally from New
Cedarville?
Jersey. We moved to a dairy farm. We had a dairy farm down there. We moved to Cedarville. We bought a dairy farm in Cedarville. And that's where I was raised until 87, 86. And then we moved to Ilion. And then I moved to Columbia Center. And then I moved back to Cedarville. And then I moved to Rumson.
To Rumson. So where in New Jersey were you? Where did you have a farm?
We had a farm in Kinnelon.
No, I don't know. Tell me, is
Stillwater?
it south? Is it north? Is it middle?
It's near Patterson.
Patterson, New Jersey,
Newton,
which is...
Newton, New Jersey.
Yeah, okay. So you're kind of in the middle, right?
Yeah.
And was it a dairy farm?
Dairy farm. Yep.
And so you grew up a farm kid.
I did.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I went to my first farm. I grew up in South Boston. And we moved to Mansfield and stuff. I didn't know, and I was just a little kid anyway, so what would I know? But I legit had never seen a cow in real life until I was maybe 14.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I was just terrified by him because all the other kids quickly learned I had never seen a cow before, and so they chased me with pitchforks, cow poop.
I was milking cows at 5 years old.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I have never milked a cow.
Mm-hmm.
I never got to know him that well, and I thought you should get to know him a little bit.
Before you milked.
It's a terrible joke.
That is terrible, Ralph. I gotta say. You're digressing.
I told you I have a little bit of a cold here. That's all it is. So what was it like growing up on a dairy farm?
Oh, it was great. Great.
How old were you when you moved from New Jersey to New York?
Fourth grade.
Was fourth grade 8?
1978.
I was 8 in 1978.
Yeah, so I was around 10, 9 or 10.
Yeah, okay. And did your parents own the one in New Jersey and then buy another one?
Yeah, they put a highway through our cow pastures. Dad decided it was time to move, so we moved to New York. To
They put a highway
to the cow pasture. Yeah, Dad decided it was time to move.
Yeah, no question.
Mm-hmm.
No question. How many I was going to say cattle, but that's not it. It's cows, right?
Yeah, we had 120.
Holy, that's a lot.
Yeah, we milked around 70 to 80.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was just me,
Wow.
my brother, my dad, and mom. So we worked hard.
So what was a typical day like for you on the farm? I mean, what time
Um,
did you get up in the morning?
well, my brother and I alternated mornings before school, so we didn't have to do it every morning. So one morning he'd get up and help with chores, the other morning I would. So we were up at 5:30.
How is he, older or younger?
We're 7 months apart. I'm
So,
adopted, so we're
oh,
7 months apart. So we do barn chores before we went to school, and then we come home from school and we'd have our chores to do in the barn when we got home from school. And during the summer, it was hay season and gardening and fix the stuff and
what is, pardon my ignorance, what's
mhm.
barn chores?
Feeding, cleaning the gutters out, graining the cows, cleaning the calf stalls, cleaning the pipeline after milking, cleaning the milk house.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Feeding the
Sounds like a lot of
heifers.
cleaning going on.
Yeah. My dad was super clean. The barn had to be spotless. So, clean the heifer barn, clean the calf barn, calf pens. We clean the
Wow.
mangers every day, twice a day. The mangers had to get cleaned out. All the old food before the new grain and hay was put down.
Wow. Yeah. I guess it's and there's only 4 of you and 2 of you are kids.
Mm-hmm.
I bet that means your mom and dad had to work a ton because I can't imagine you were all that great of a worker at 10.
We did. We worked.
Yeah.
If I couldn't milk cows, my punishment when I was a kid, if I was bad, I couldn't milk.
Wow. So you really enjoyed it.
I did. I loved it. Loved it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Loved it.
Wow. Okay. So it's
Yep.
fun.
Yep. Yeah. For me, I just loved the cows, and yeah, they all had names, and I
Was
brushed
any of them
them.
named Betsy?
No.
Oh, I think I don't know why I think that's a common cow name.
We didn't have any Betsies.
Is that true? I don't know where I heard that.
Betsy the
that
cow is a
somewhere.
very common thing that you hear, but we didn't have any Betsies.
No Betsy's. What were their names? Do you have like a memory of
Yeah, we had like the flower group. We had Rosie, Daisy, Lily, and then we had the song group. We had song, music, melody, harmony.
You're blowing my mind here. I had no idea. I remember, up in
It
Buffalo,
was a
there's
small farm for family farm, so
yeah,
I named all the cows.
that's super great. In Buffalo, and you're near Buffalo, kind of, right? Do you
It's
ever?
about 3 hours.
Yeah. So up in Buffalo, there's a patch of roads called the Fruit Belt. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Yeah, there's like Orange Street, Lemon Drive, whatever. But it's all named after fruit, and
After
it's
fruit.
a gang. Like it don't go to the Fruit Belt was the first thing I was told when I went to Buffalo for the first time. The Fruit Belt
Bad
is
side of town, apparently.
yeah, so it's
Oh,
it's bad fruit is what
that's
I'm.
terrible.
The Fruit Belt is not good in the but well, it wasn't anyway. That was gosh, I don't know, 8-10 years ago. So maybe it's a
Yeah.
great place now. I'm not sure for those who live on Orange Street or Lemon Street or whatever their fruits are called. Grape dry. I don't even know what the fruits are. You wouldn't have a Banana Street, would you? I don't think that's accurate. That doesn't sound like a good
No,
street name. But Orange Street sounds okay.
it does.
Citrus Drive, maybe. So what was high school like? Did you play any sports or you didn't have any time?
We did. My brother played football, and I was in track. Excuse me. I wasn't good at sports. I was happier milking cows and riding my horse. So
Oh, riding horses too.
I preferred to be home on the farm doing the things I like to do.
Did you ever work outside of the farm? Did you
Yeah.
ever deliver newspapers or anything
No,
like
I
that?
milked for other farms in the area. I would milk cows and do chores if they went away for a weekend or things like that. They called me. I
Really?
was like the local milker because I was good at milking. So I would go down and take care of those herds when they went away.
Not to be too forward, but how much does a milker make?
Not much.
Yeah.
I don't even remember. It was so long ago. Long time ago.
It's got to be kind of fun though to go to a different farm and
It was
see all the
stressful
new
because you don't want to
cows
get mastitis to the cows. You want to make sure you feed them the right amounts of feed and grain, and every cow gets a different amount based on how much milk they produce. So that it varies. So you'd have a list of what cow got what as far as how much grain they got. So that was a little bit, the barn cleaner was going to break. There was always things that could happen. Water pipe break in the barn. And, it was stressful sometimes, but I still enjoyed doing it.
I had no idea that you had to measure the food based on milk production.
Mm-hmm.
I have a dog,
Yeah.
and if I fed him based on his production of anything, he'd starve to death because
And not with the cows.
he doesn't do anything.
Learned a lot today, aren't you, Ralph?
Yeah, no, that's quite interesting. Like I said, I've never really been. I had a friend when I was in high school who grew up on a farm, and the big thing that I remember about him is two things. One, he hated the nickname the farmer, and everybody called him the farmer. I thought it was a great nickname. Of course, they were calling me the housekeeper, so his was way better than mine. But he also was always talking about riding calves. You got to go over and ride the calves. And there's no way I was going to go ride a calf. I didn't even know what that meant, but it didn't sound like a good time. But a bunch of that's all they ever talked about is riding calves, and they'd have like bruises on their face and, like
getting bucked off.
Yeah. Like apparently it's not easy to ride a calf.
No.
Have you ever ridden a calf?
We had a cow we used to ride. She used to get out all the time. So up the neighbors, and we'd go up and get her and ride her home.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, she was an odd cow, but
she liked to get out. Maybe she was a little social.
She would always get out. We could never figure out how she did, but she always did. And they'd call, I'd go up and get her and ride her back home.
It's actually kind of cool. It's kind of like at least you can get a ride back. So you don't have to kind of like that, actually. So that's all you've ever did then was just farming?
Yeah, we farm. And then after high school, when we no longer were farming, I went into insurance. And I worked at MetLife and the Hartford.
What'd you do? Was it in sales?
No, I was in dental. I was in claims, Social Security. And then I moved to dental. And then I went to kind of like, I guess, middle management, I guess you would say. And then I went to the Hartford in marketing. And then my dad got hurt, and then I started the cleaning business.
How long did you work in insurance?
15 years.
Wow. So a long time.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
No. I didn't. Okay. I didn't. I'm not a sit person. That's a lot of sitting.
Oh, yeah. I could just imagine just processing claims. I worked for, I got a job for for NASDAQ, and it was like having to do evaluations on breakpoints for investments. And after like the third hour, I just wanted to shoot myself. I'm like, this is not. I remember when I was being interviewed, they're like, are you going to be okay working around other people? I'm like, totally. What do I care? I did not know what they meant was working around other people was sitting, shoulder to shoulder in a cubicle farm. I was like, this is not what I had in mind. That's
it was a good job. I learned a lot there. I learned a lot at both places, which probably helped when I moved into the cleaning industry. But it was not it was a job I got after high school,
Yeah. You just kind of stayed.
Yeah.
Yeah. What can I ask what happened to your dad?
He fell off a roof.
Oh, gee.
And had to go to Syracuse a couple times a week for surgeries and therapies and that kind of thing. So I had to go part-time to take him to Syracuse.
Wow. And why did you start a cleaning company? It seems so, other than your experience cleaning cow barns, 15 years in actuaries you generally don't see that connection. How did you even know to start a cleaning company?
I always got compliments on how clean my house was. And I had to, I lost all my insurance and my pay. You go part-time. So I had to do something to work around. And so I just threw an ad in the paper, and I thought, well, everybody says I have a clean house. So I just threw an ad in the paper and got my first house and kept going.
What about that? How did you get that first house? So they just called you up and they said, hey,
I had an ad in the paper, and they called me and hired me.
How big was the house?
It wasn't very big, but it was a difficult client. I had, you learn a lot the hard way.
How many bedrooms was it?
3.
Did they have kids?
No.
Did they have any pets?
Yes.
How many?
I think it was 1 dog and a cat.
Oh, okay. Indoor, both
Yeah.
indoor. Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to have. I worked for a house cleaning company, and we used to have what they called the gross fee. And so it was like, I think we charge. I think they charge. I didn't charge. I was working for them. But I think they charged like $65 for us to go in and clean. And we'd go in with two people. So two people would go and clean house. We'd do a whole route. But if you had a dog or a cat or whatever, and they had an accident, like there'd be times there would be a dog in a cage, and we'd get there and the dog had messed himself all over the cage or whatever. And they would call that a gross fee. And the gross fee was $75, but the cleaner got to keep it all. So we always wanted a gross fee. We're always looking for any reason. This is back before cell phones too. Nowadays, I'm sure you can not cheat as much as we could then. But back then, we would turn a small little spill on the floor into a big puddle that almost just to get the
you can't do that now.
Yeah. I shouldn't have admitted that. Anyway, so has the statute of limitations expired? That was let's see, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, maybe. Anyway, I might have fibbed a couple of times on the gross fee. Wasn't that gross, but needed that money. So it was your first client, 3-bedroom, couple of pets. What made them so difficult?
Picky.
Yeah.
They were picky. And when you're doing other people's houses, it isn't like doing your own. Even though I was a neat freak, it still is different when you're doing somebody else's other than doing your own.
Yeah. And you don't have the same set of eyes.
You don't.
You're not sitting on the couch every night looking at a spill on the wall.
Right.
And it's not like they're going to tell you. Instead, they're going to go like, well, let's see how good this housekeeper is.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's see if she finds that. And, you get it back. And was the housekeeper here? Let me go look. And what do they look at? They look for that stain on the wall.
Yes.
And they see the stain on the wall. This housekeeper is terrible. Okay. Well, that stain on the wall is behind the television.
Right.
You have to sit in the right spot in the right time of day for the sunlight to hit it. So that's what made him so difficult, huh?
Yeah, it was just, and I was nervous and I was learning and I had no clue what I was doing. Had no clue how to run a business, how to do anything, nothing. It was just, I can do this. So I just did it.
How long did you have that client before you got your second client?
I don't remember, honestly.
Was it a long time, very quickly?
No, it was fairly quickly because I remember my part-time job, I was able to quit within like 3 months or 4 months.
Nice.
I had
really great.
I had like 30 or 40 houses at that by then.
Wow. And do you have kids?
I have a son, but he's older.
Yeah. Did he pitch in at all? Did you put him to work? No.
He didn't want to.
Yeah. No, they never do.
No, he didn't want to.
Yeah, they never do. That's why you have to make them.
Yeah.
That's what I.
Even now, he's like, "No, Mom, I don't want to do cleaning." I'm like, "Okay."
My son called me. My son right out of high school, he went to California. He's going to go live in California. And I said to him, anytime you need a job, you let me know. He's like, I don't need a job, right? Like I have a lot of contacts in cleaning, so I know that I can get him a job anywhere in the country with a cleaning company.
Yep.
And he's like, there's no chance I want to be a cleaner. I'm like, you just let me. You ever need a job, you let me know. So he calls me like 6 months later. He goes,
need a job, Dad.
So what kind of job do you think you can get me? I go, oh my gosh, I have the perfect place for you. And it was at a nursing home. I said, this place is a nursing home. A friend of mine does the cleaning there. He'll hire you. I think he worked there for like 2 days. He calls me like, Dad, I hate it. And I kind of was glad. I got to tell you, I was kind of glad. I was like, good. He's like, I'm going to go do anything else. Good. There you go. He's never done it ever since. Now he's an electrician. So there you go.
There you go.
That's
a good field.
Yeah, not terrible. So you went quickly, just grew right up. Did you ever, and do you now, just curious, do you now or did you ever have how do your clients know that you were there? Do you leave them a note? Is there a little clean, dirty magnet on the door? We have one on our dishwasher. It's a magnet that has clean on one side, dirty on the other.
Yeah. No. mean, now with the software that we use, I send an email out and ask them
Very
to
nice.
rate our cleaning and how we did. I think it's a 0 to 4 scale. 0, we're fired. 4, we did a great job and they love us.
Excellent.
So we don't always get responses to that, but we try to follow up and we'll give them a couple of days and we'll send another one out and ask them. Because it's good for the cleaners because the cleaners see those responses, so they know if they've done anything wrong as well, and they want to know.
Yeah, so explain it to me then. Is it just simply like I clean the house, and as I'm leaving, the last thing I do is I grab my phone and text the owner, hey, no.
They clock out on their scheduling software on their phones.
Oh, so they're just simply punching out, leaving this place.
Yep.
And then once they do that, that triggers
an
automatic response to the client that their house has just been cleaned.
Yes.
Interesting. That's really great. That's really great. I think, so we have a cleaner here, and my wife does, 2 things. One, she always cleans before she gets here because she's insane. And then 2, every time she walks in after the housekeeper was here, because she's not here all day, my wife is a school teacher. And as soon as she comes home, she starts looking for evidence that the house was clean. Right? Like she really does. Like, we make our bed every morning until the day that the housekeeper's coming. Her name's Hilda. So if Hilda's coming, we don't make the bed because she's going to wash the sheets and everything.
Yep.
And so that's like where my wife makes a beeline for the bedroom. Sees the bed made, housekeeper was here. Hilda was here.
It's all good.
And I'm still working on my Spanish. Hilda only speaks Spanish, and my wife is a Spanish teacher, language teacher. So it works out for those 2, but I'm lost.
Not for you.
I'm lost in the whole thing. But I always want to I just want to give her the, I just find it challenging if you're making the customer go to look for evidence that you were there. Is there some way? That's why I like that software idea. Is there some way to let your customer know that you were there without them having to go look for it? Because, as you were saying with your first customer, what were they looking for? They were looking for messes. They were looking for dirt. They were looking for things because
anything that I missed.
Yeah, whatever you missed. How dare you? That's really, really interesting. That's a great software. That's a great program.
Yeah, we love it.
How do you dictate, like, if there are problems or anything?
It's all through a messaging board on the software.
Oh, so you can just add right there. Hey, we found a hole. We found this.
Yep, we do technician notes right on the software. That's and nice. We get the notification in the top corner that there's a message for us, and we can go and click on it and see what the technician note is.
Awesome. That is really, really great.
Yeah.
How many employees do you have?
11.
11. Wow, good for 11. You.
Yeah.
That's really great. Do you clean on weekends or just Monday through Friday?
No, just Monday through Friday.
See, that's even better. And it's all during the day?
Yeah, we start early in the morning, like at 4:35 in the morning, because we do our small businesses.
Oh, we talked about that a little bit before, you and I. You do have a little bit of commercial cleaning as well.
Yep. So we do our offices before 8 o'clock. We're done by 8 with them, and then we move to our houses at 8:30.
Yeah, that's quite that's a really great way of doing it. When again, I think I've worked in almost every cleaning industry myself. And one time, we cleaned office buildings and we cleaned banks and we, dental offices and that kind of thing. But all of it was done at night. We did nothing in the morning. And we never had to do it at night because, like you're saying, they don't open till 8. Some places don't open till 9.
Yeah, till 9. And the staff love it because they start early in the morning. They're done between 12 and 2 on an early day. So they love that.
That's super great. That's really great. So that's really fantastic. So how long has it been since, when did you start this company? Like, how long have you been in business?
17 and a half years.
Wow. Good for you.
Years. Yeah. So we started 2004 was when I started. I became an LLC in 2008. 2008. Yeah.
Wow. That's really fantastic.
Yeah. It's surprising.
It's the type of business that, number one, you can grow very fast just by word of mouth, right? You don't
Yep.
need a lot of advertising out there. Although I would argue that advertising helps you get a little bit more specific in
Yes.
what you're targeting. You know, there are some neighborhoods around me that are multi-family facilities. You're right, like there's a bunch of facility, you know, like there's 2-3 families in one house kind of thing, and then go a few more miles down the road, and there are houses that are one family, but they're the size of two of the two family.
Yeah.
And if you're going to clean both homes, which one makes more money for you? I would take the road trip. So
Yeah. Yeah.
do you specialize in anything? Do you have like a certain client that you're after?
We have a really big range. I've actually gone through that and done this kind of see if we had like a specific client, and we have we don't have a basis in one kind of client. There's
Yeah.
a big variety there. People always say you got to find a unique client, and we just don't seem to have that. We kind of go across the board on everything. We've got seniors, we've got small homes, we've got 7,000 square foot homes, we've got apartments that we do, single parents, people in their 50s and 60s, people in their 20s and 30s. So it's really a huge gamut that we kind of run.
That's really great. How do you advertise right now? What's been your...
Right now we use Facebook, radio, and LinkedIn is what we use right now.
Really? What do you do for radio?
We have a spot running during the morning commute, and then the afternoon, and then on the way home. And it's just like right now we're focusing on our residential with Christmas cleaning, getting your house ready for Christmas. And then after Christmas, you've got all those pine needles you want to clean up.
Yes.
So that's what a commercial is running right now, is for that to focus on. And then we'll probably switch it in January and head more toward the commercial area again.
Wow, that's really smart. That's really smart. I wonder how, radio is just one of those things where, because there's internet radio, there's podcasts, there's tapes. Are there tapes anymore? CDs.
CDs. I don't think there's tapes anymore.
I remember when I was a kid, I always listened to cassette tapes.
I did too.
And so, when I was driving, I'd always just listen to, Huey Lewis and the news or whatever. And somebody'd say like, "Oh, did you hear on the radio?" And I remember at one point it just dawned on me that I never listened to the radio. Like, what station is? I always just listened to a cassette. So I never, like, what? There was a contest. I didn't hear about the contest.
I listen to talk radio now.
Oh, news talk.
We have a station here that's all talk radio.
Oh, AM side of the dial, yeah?
FM. It's an FM station.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's really great. And is that the station that you advertise on?
It's one of them. Yep. And then the other one is like a light listening station.
Wow. Radio. I haven't considered radio. Maybe I should consider radio.
I don't know if it brings us a whole lot of business, but it is a good way to get your name repeatedly out there so that people think of you when they think of cleaning.
Yeah.
And they hear it on their way home. They hear it on their way in the morning. They hear it on their lunch.
Yeah. I train managers. So I train cleaning managers. So people who are in the cleaning business, but they're running crews, they're creating job routines, they're doing work loading. That's what I'm an educator. So that's my part. And I work mostly in healthcare. So like nursing homes, assisted living, small hospitals. So I wonder but there's a ton of those around me. There's a ton of nursing homes and hospitals and senior care facilities. I wonder if radio would be it's interesting. I have to think about it. Maybe radio, because I do Facebook, I do LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Do you ever buy any ads? Do you ever buy any ads?
Buy any ads?
Yeah, like on Facebook, you do Facebook ads.
We post it, like boost it, whatever they call it. My marketing guy does all that for me, so he just sends me a bill every month and whatever it is.
Oh. Yeah, so same thing. Kind of boosting is kind of like having an ad out there. So it all seems to work then.
Yeah. I'm not sure what other routes you could go other than TV, and I'm not into that. So,
well, I got to say that when I worked for a company, from the company that I worked for, we were doing house cleaning, residential house cleaning. The owner would be very specific about the neighborhoods he wanted to get into, and we would go walking. We go to that neighborhood with door tags, door hangers, and we would just walk on hang door because he was just trying to get business in that neighborhood.
Yep.
And it was probably more strategic on his part. Like he saw a neighborhood he wanted to get into, but the way he sold it to us is we were always looking at it from a geography point of view. So where we drove,
Yes.
you know, how far out you got, you know, because there were some days where because of the drive was so long, you could only do 2 houses.
Yeah.
And then there were days when the drive was really short and you could do 4 or 5. And of course you got paid per house.
So the more you can do, the better.
So the more you could do, the better. And so there were a couple of days during the week where you'd be like, nobody wanted to do those because they were so far away and you couldn't, you know, you wouldn't have time to do anything else, you know. And he'd have to incentivize us, pay for gas or whatever, you know.
Let me give you a little motivation here.
Yeah, we're young kids, though. I mean, I was only, you know, 19, 20, you know. 21.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm just a young kid cleaning houses. What'd you do for a living? My first, I always tell this story, and I don't think anybody appreciates how great it was. But one of my first jobs was cleaning at a condo at a resort in Vermont, and what made it really great, there were a couple of things that were really great. Like you got to keep anything that people left behind. You know,
could be really good.
Well, you know, they used to leave like beer and cigarettes and potato chips. You know, I got the best pair of sweatpants I ever owned. Somebody left them behind. But one of my favorite things, this is going to sound really terrible, but I was the only guy. And so that was really great. Anyway.
It's not a bad thing.
No, it's not. When you're 16 and you're the only guy on the crew, it's not bad. You know?
Not bad.
It's not a terrible job to have, you know. Any heavy lifting came my way. All the driving, you know, came my way, you know. Wasn't terrible. Oh, the days.
No, I don't want to go back there.
I know. It's funny, you know, everyone's like, why are you working in cleaning? You know, you should be working in construction. I'm like, in construction, it's all guys. Who wants to do that? Yeah.
Not anymore. A lot of women know.
Yeah, well, that's fun though. That's fun. So when you do social media, do you post yourself or do you have somebody posting for you?
I have a guy who posts for me. I'm not good at social media stuff, so I'll tell him what I want, and then he goes ahead and creates it for me and sends me a preview before he does it, and then I tell him yes or no.
Yeah. Do you ever do like before and after pictures or anything?
We don't. Like you know, you have to get the client's permission.
Yeah, that's true.
To take pictures in their home, and I know how I would feel about that. So,
I wouldn't mind the after pictures, but the before, how dare you?
And we did times, and the client was great. They're like, "Yeah, sure, right," because it was just a shower, it was just a glass shower. And it was really bad because it had just a hard water, and it came out like beautiful. So she let me post those, but we just don't do a lot of that because I just don't feel comfortable asking people if I can take pictures of their home.
I know, you know, there's companies that manage their entire operation through pictures. Mm-hmm. So that's how they let everybody, you know, and I don't even know that they do before and after, but more like just after.
Yeah.
And so they'll clean a house and then they'll take like 3 or 4 snapshots of, you know, the bedroom, the living room, the kitchen. It's all perfect. It's all in order. The floors are still wet, so they're shiny, you know. Yeah. It's a trick, by the way, in those of us in the cleaning industry. Take pictures of wet waxed floors. Like, oh my God, it looks amazing. Yeah, it isn't dried yet. We're not going to tell you that. But and then that's how they manage. So that's how they communicate with their customers.
Staff?
But their customers.
Okay. All right.
And it's how staff communicate to the owner or to the.
They must have approval of that before they go into the house.
Yeah, they must. I have a friend. I have a friend who owns a floor care company in Florida, Orlando, and he's got crews going out all the time, and they're doing schools, and you know they're stripping and refinishing, and they're doing early morning and late night because it's floor care. Yeah. And he's like, they just send me pictures of when it's done, and then I'll call the client like, hey, we all got it done, and you know, here's the bill for it and all that. But he's like, I hardly see any of the floors we do in person because we use so many.
Use the photographs, yeah.
It's not a terrible. I just met a guy, these 2 guys who own a company in Chicago, the janitor store. I think it's called the janitor. Do you know the janitor store?
Janitorial store?
The janitorial store. Okay, so I don't know the full scope of it because you know we were at a cocktail party when we were talking about it, but they created like an app that it's for, like, how do you know people are getting done what they're supposed to be getting done? And it's
Yeah.
all through pictures on this app where your staff are instructed to upload, just not a lot of pictures, but just series pictures, like, the bedroom, the bathroom, the kitchen, the
Yeah.
dining room, whatever. And that's how you ensure that, that's how you remotely manage. It's a good idea.
It's a good idea. It is a good
Yeah.
idea.
How did COVID affect you? I mean,
We
it must have.
closed for like 6 weeks.
That's not terrible.
Yeah. And, first of all, we couldn't get PPE.
Yeah.
So we couldn't get masks, we couldn't get gloves, we couldn't. And then, I just didn't know enough about, nobody knew what was going on or how it was going to affect everything. And just for safety purposes, I didn't feel like we should stay open. And so during that time, I was on webinar after webinar after webinar after webinar. I went through an symposium with GBAC. I did a 3-day symposium with them, and I got certified in biohazard. I went through all that stuff I don't want to do that kind of work, but the more I knew, the better I figured I was as far as approaching things going back into when we reopened again. So that was hard.
Yeah. How did you? So 6 weeks later, I mean, you're in the middle of May. 6 weeks later, right?
Yep.
So beginning of May or whatever. So schools are closed.
Yep.
Offices are closed. People are learning how to work remotely on Zoom.
Yep.
How did you convince people to let you in and continue to clean?
We did a slow reopen.
Yeah.
We had 2 staff came back. So we had to hire new ones. So I went back out in the field when we reopened. It was hard because middle of the day, somebody called, hey, I had a COVID exposure. You can't come clean. So things were changing on the fly. It was just insane. So keeping staff, I'd hire people and they would leave because we couldn't, the hours were just, I couldn't.
Non-predictable, right?
Yeah, it was insane. So I started moving more and more to commercial work because if they had a COVID case, they didn't cancel. They wanted us there more.
Yeah.
So we picked up quite a bit more commercial work during that time. But it was hard. It was a slow reopen, and we just kind of, as houses came back on, I just kept trying to hire people. And when we got to a point where we had too many houses, and I said, we can't take any more on right now until we get more staff on, because it's just, I can't, it just was too much.
And how is your staffing now? I mean, I know you said you have 11, but how is it recruiting in your area, hiring in your area?
We're overstaffed right now, finally, thank God.
Wow.
But that's in the last 2 months that we've gotten to the point where we're actually a little bit overstaffed, and now I'm stressing to get work on. Up to that point, it's been a nightmare. Just a nightmare. We had a waiting list. We couldn't get clients on. We couldn't get, we couldn't get any staff hired to get the work on. Yeah. So that was super frustrating. We could have had a much better year than we did if we had been able to get more people hired and get those people on that wanted their houses clean that we couldn't get in for like 3, 4, 5 months.
It's been kind of like a catch-22, right?
Yeah.
Because I've always been under the kind of, I don't know, my modus operandi is always get the business and figure out how to do it afterward, So sign the business and we'll figure out how we're going to get it clean, how we're going to get it staffed.
We couldn't. We were working 45, 50 hours a week, those of us who were here.
Yeah, no, and that's
it was just no more.
That's my point. Like, that's what I was like prior. And then, come COVID and I work in healthcare, and 1 out of 5 healthcare workers quit in the beginning of 2020, 1 out of 5. And then, I mean, even right now, there's like 6.2 million jobs open right now.
Yeah.
Vacancies. 11,000. I just did a report last night. There's 11,000 employees were interviewed instead, or 11,000 of the employees interviewed, 11,000 said they're working short-staffed. And so they're taking on extra positions, doing extra work that was, prior to 2020, not, part of their job assignment.
Yeah.
And the number one reason why in healthcare that people were leaving was because of fear of COVID.
Yeah.
And like, I remember just nurses just walking in and hearing that there's a COVID positive resident and turning right around going, nope, I quit. And they're like, well, no, wait,
Yeah,
because in
it was
healthcare,
scary.
especially, but in healthcare, especially in nursing homes, if if staff don't show up, we have a real problem doing feeding people, giving them their medication, getting them help going to the bathroom, getting showers, getting out of bed. And just the daily luxury. If you got up
Overall,
this morning on your own and went to the bathroom, imagine not being able to do that.
yeah,
And then not having people helping you. So they're like, nope, my health is more important. And you're like, well, okay, can we be safe and help? I mean, is that possible?
right.
So it was, working in healthcare is really, really an interesting.
Just challenging.
Yeah, it's very challenging when it comes to, but we've been through it all. I mean, I've been working in healthcare so long. I remember I've been through HIV. I've been through the swine flu. I've been, hepatitis A, B, C, staph infections, MRSA, VRE, C. diff, all of these. I mean, I used to make a joke, and this is so terrible in retrospect. But I used to make a joke. Most nursing, it's a great setup, right? Most nursing homes are what they call semi-private, meaning there's usually two residents or two people move into the same room.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two people in one room. And if you've ever seen that situation, they're two strangers. It's not like they know each other.
Yeah.
They've never known each other. Now you have two competing televisions, both watching different programs, and the TVs are beside each other. You know what I mean? Like it's never all that great of a thing. There's technology where they're trying to give headphones and all this stuff, whatever, but it's just a challenge. And the real lucky ones are those who get private rooms.
Yeah.
Ones who just have have a room by themselves. And so I used to make a joke that when I go into a nursing home, I'm going to lick everything. As soon as I get there, I'm going to lick everything. IV poles, walls, bed frames, handrails, doorknobs. If I can reach it with my tongue, I'm licking it.
There's a reason for this, right?
In the hopes of getting C. diff, VRE, MRSA, something to where I would not be able to afford a private room, so I'd be in a semi-private, but I'd be too contagious to have a roommate. So
You'd be isolated.
Private room.
I don't think you want to go that route, Ralph.
Yeah, that's a healthcare humor right there. That's a little. How do you get a semi-private room? Private, be too sick to be with anybody else. And I don't know why I thought that was funny when I said it at the time, but now you see people who are sick and you're like, I would not want to be that. I'd be in a quad, a room with 4 people rather than be sick.
Yeah.
There are some nursing homes that have 3-bedroom rooms, 4-bedroom rooms. It can either be really fine, it can be really terrible.
Really terrible. Yeah.
But staffing in nursing homes is a real problem. Senior care, hospitals, real problem. Really has devastating results, impacts people differently, really bad. But I'm when COVID hit, we were still in the process of, like getting more accounts. And then we're like, whoa, wait, hold on.
Yeah, everything changed.
Yeah, everything changed. And then I work in education, and as a consultant, and soon as it came out, consultants shouldn't be allowed in healthcare. They're like, you need to go. But we still want you here. So is it possible we can still do like the inspections and the in-services and the training? And so I started doing it using FaceTime. So that was my first intro to videos. We'd do FaceTime inspections, and we'd be like, let me see the other side of the toilet. They would watch the other side.
Put your phone over. Yeah. Well, +2 with us, we went to interviews, doing Zoom interviews instead of in-person interviews when we reopened. And that was hard because you really can't see someone's demeanor when they come when they walk in, they walk out. It was hard to gauge people on a Zoom call.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think we hired anybody on a Zoom call because in healthcare, we needed you to show up.
Yeah.
What a challenge.
Yeah, we did all our initial interviews on the Zoom, and then if we thought we wanted to move forward, then we bring them into the office.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Do you have your own chemical line, or
No, we don't.
do you just use whatever the customer has?
No, we have our own stuff that we use. Better Life cleaning products, and we use oh God, I'm drawing a blank. I'll get back to you on that one.
No, it's okay. I'm just curious, like another one of the changes that we made when I first started working for that guy cleaning houses, we had our own chemicals. Like he bought at Costco or whatever, he would just buy cases of there was nothing cool at the time. I think it was like 409 and stuff like that. It was very, just regular stuff, not like Method. Method's pretty new on the market, pretty strong stuff. But we would always just bring in a little housekeeping caddy. We'd go in with all our stuff. And then at some point we stopped, and he stopped providing chemicals, and he just changed this whole thing to where the customer would have their own chemicals. So if you liked this kind of cleaner, then just have it on the counter for us. We're going to be there. If you like this wood polish. Opposite. Yeah.
I started off using their chemicals, and then I'd get there and they'd be out of polish or out of floor cleaner, so then I switched over to providing, and then I could control what was being used also, as far as it being safer for the staff and safer for the clients, the pets. So I like that better. And I always know that staff has what they need to get the job done.
Smart. Is that the same for light housekeeping equipment? Like brooms?
We bring
mops?
everything.
You bring everything.
We bring everything.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's just much easier. The staff's trained on everything, so they're not going to break stuff. Trying to use a different vacuum cleaner and you break somebody's Dyson, that's huge.
Yeah.
I don't want to replace that.
Yeah. Dysons are huge.
So, we have a few homes where we have to use their supplies just because there's allergy issues but that's only in special cases where we do that.
Do you have like a brochure that when you are signing a new account, do you go like, hey, these are the chemicals that we use, this is the chemical list that we have?
No,
nobody ever cares.
Yeah, nobody. We get a few once in a while that, what do you use, because they have allergies or they have reactions to certain things, but for the most part people don't really care. And our website says that we provide chemicals that are safe for the environment and safe for the pets and people, anyways, but the disinfectant that we use, we had to start using that once we reopened, and there's no safe disinfectant.
There's no green disinfectant.
No.
Nope. There's no green.
No.
And that's always fun because I have a lot of vendors on my show, and I talk to a lot of vendors, and they're always like, this is a safe product. I'm like, it's not a disinfectant and it's safe. There's no. Even today during the entire pandemic, the number one product that the CDC recommends, and they still recommend today, is bleach and water. And bleach and water is the opposite of what we would call a green chemical.
Yes, very much so.
It's the opposite.
Yeah.
No question. It's but it works. It
does.
Yeah. Disinfecting is kind of a new thing for house cleaners or hotel cleaners.
I found that when we first reopened, it was really important to people. And then as people have kind of gotten used to this whole thing, they don't really care anymore.
I know. I've been talking about contact time for my entire career.
Yeah.
How does it work? I mean, I can't tell you how many thousands of in-services I have done on contact time to audiences that could not care less. I mean, they were just like, gee, who gives a crap?
And the one place like we see where there's stuff that actually are you worried about contact time is like in our offices where they were spraying before they hired us, and you can see all the damage on the doors from spraying the handles and letting it sit and just running down the door.
Yeah, that was a huge misnomer. And in healthcare, in most healthcare facilities, we have what we call low temp laminate. You know what low temp laminate is? It's most furniture is laminated, so it's like a pressed board or a particle wood. Most, I mean, you can still get some real wood furniture, but nothing you're going to buy at, Walmart or Target or even IKEA. All of that's pressed board. and then it has a laminate on it.
Yeah.
And there's two types of laminate. There's a high temp laminate and a low temp laminate. And the high temp laminate, as you can imagine, is very durable. Like it's really, really durable. Like you can beat it with a hammer and it's not going to go anywhere. Low temp laminate is the worst part about low temp laminate. Looks great. It's porous. It's not waterproof.
Yeah.
And so if you put a cup down, if you ever do this, you put a cup down on a table or something and it has condensation. And so the table, you can see a white ring.
Yep.
That's a low temp laminate because the water is going through the laminate. And when the COVID came and all the companies said the contact time for chemicals to be effective is 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Everybody went to 10 minutes. It really, I mean, I can't tell you how many thousands of pieces of furniture I have seen. People have sent me pictures.
Yeah.
And they're like, look, it's ruined. Look, it's ruined.
Destroyed.
It's destroyed because you can't put low temp laminate furniture in a pool for 10 minutes and expect it to continue to be
fine.
and here's the worst part. The worst part is the reason, like, you never heard of any chemical that was 11 minutes or a 12-minute contact time or 15 or 12, all 10 minutes. Why 10 minutes? Because the FDA does not allow any chemicals that has a kill time that takes longer than 10 minutes.
Oh.
So it wasn't like Clorox that went, say, they're like, green, whatever the chemical is. I don't mean to point out any chemical, but the reason why any chemical went from contact time was 60 seconds or less, which is the traditional normal contact time for a disinfectant to work, to 10 minutes, not because they did any tests, because they didn't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
So they all just said, I'm going to max out the time. So 10 minutes is the time. And then, of course, you can imagine trying to blame chemical companies because you didn't, we disinfected for 10 minutes on every surface.
Right.
Chemical company would be like, yeah, of course you did not. And so it's a way of chemical companies not to be liable for disinfectant not
that makes
working.
Sense.
Burns my chops because it's so ridiculous. 10-minute contact time. However, there is one chemical that has a 10-minute contact time that kind of makes sense, and it's for I feel like I'm talking too much. It's for what's that blue stuff at the barber shop? What's that stuff called?
I don't know.
You know where they put the combs in?
Oh, I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about, though?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That chemical has a 10-minute contact time, which is why they don't spray the combs. They actually
dip it in
that container, let them sit and soak, because it has such a long contact time.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, now you do.
I learned something new.
Anything else you want to know about cleaning? I'm your guy. Not about the interesting stuff, of course. All about the minutia. All the minutia stuff. Well, this has been really fun. I appreciate you coming on and talking about how you got into the cleaning industry, and it's really fascinating.
Yeah, thanks, Ralph. I appreciate you having me on.
So, what is your next? Like, what's next for you? Are you just continuing to expand? Are you?
Yeah,
we want to
expand. We're interviewing for a business manager right now to come in and start helping out.
Fun.
And then we'll be looking for a field supervisor, someone to start taking over the inspections and that kind of thing. So we're hoping to keep pushing forward and keep growing and to see where it goes.
When I never got the position, but when I was cleaning the condos, when you got pretty good, you got promoted into the inspector role. And so then the inspector would just be the ones, they would help clean, especially in the morning. But then at a certain time, they would just grab their clipboard and have to go start inspecting all the rooms and making sure everything was all right and everything was good. So inspect those. That's an important role.
Yeah, right now I do it, so I need to get off of that. But
are you finding yourself working in the business instead of on the business?
I don't clean anymore, but I do the quality inspections and that kind of thing. So I need to get out of that.
Yeah.
That part of it.
Yeah. So you're still just doing the advertising through LinkedIn, Facebook, radio.
And radio.
Really interesting in radio. I'm interested in radio. I wonder if radio would work for me. I'm right, I'm here next to New York City too. So I have a
You have a
pretty
much bigger pool of people
much
to
bigger
work with.
pool of people.
Yeah,
Yeah. How many people live in Utica?
not a lot. I think Utica alone is probably 60,000. Then
Oh,
you have the
wow.
outlying areas of like New Hartford, Clinton.
Yeah. So it's not a small community.
No, but it's not like a big city either.
Yeah.
And it's, for the city size, it's really a small town feel here. It's just a really cool place, and they've done a lot of revitalization around the community. They're building a brand new hospital
Oh,
here,
wow.
and they're putting an add-on to our sports center, the Adirondack Sports Center. They're putting another whole different building to that to be able to do more sports competitions, and
Oh, wow.
so they're really,
It's a
and they're
lot of
kind of
growth then.
a lot of growth. Yeah,
That's really great.
Utica's in a good spot because we never really get hit hard with anything. It's kind of
You mean for weather?
no, not for weather, but as far, as like the economy goes, it's kind of always just kind of steady. You'll feel some stuff, but it isn't like a huge impact like you get in the bigger cities. It just happens to be kind of sheltered here a little bit. I don't know why, but it is.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I think that's kind of indicative to a lot of places where it's the same modus operandi, whether the New York City's on fire or not.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Right?
If they're just going to keep rolling, and we have a great community here, great people here. So yeah, it's a really great place to have a business.
Yeah. We had some comments. Oh, this is nice. I always wanted to make a podcast about environmental services. Okay. Yes, you can talk to either one of us after this. I don't know who he wants to talk to, but yes, you can. You can talk to anybody. We don't care. Do you care? No, you don't care.
No, I don't care.
We're open to talk about anybody about cleaning business. So how do people get a hold of you? If they wanted to work with you or if they wanted to work for you?
Yep. So our email is emilyscleaning123@gmail.com. So it's Emily's Cleaning, the number is 123@gmail.com. Our website is emilyscleaningservice.com. And our phone number is 315-822-5743.
I should put that down in the chat. Let me write it in the chat. Let me just do this.
Ralph, I think
contact info.
Yes.
Emily Cleaning Services. Service.com. There you go. I put your email. I mean your website. Emily'sCleaningservice.com. And I just posted it on all the social media that was that we are currently live on, so everybody will get your at least your website, which is really great. I was interviewing somebody recently, and I can't remember her name, but she lives in a small town, and there's like one road on the way in and one road on the way out, and she owns both billboards. So there's a billboard on the way in town, the billboard on the way out of town. I know, and she's like, she gets all of her business from
those billboards,
from those two billboards.
That's fantastic.
It's so great. And apparently wherever she lives, it's very inexpensive. So the billboards were very inexpensive, and they're always up. And she's like, that's all I do. I just have two billboards.
You can't beat that.
I know.
That might be my next step. This billboard. That might be my next.
She said she swears by it.
I've never tried it. I always see him on the side. I think, boy, I really should do that, and I just forget about it, and I don't.
Yeah, I wonder how much. I wonder if it'd be an affordable.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into that.
Yeah, I know it would not be affordable here.
No.
New York City, Long Island. No. I imagine the billboards here would cost a lot.
Yes.
A lot of money. Coffee costs a lot of money here, so. Just imagine what it would take.
Yeah, I'll stay here.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Are you hiring, by the way? You are hiring or you're not?
We're not hiring right now, but we are always interviewing.
Yeah.
Because you just never know. Things change all the time.
Well, and your whole idea is to continue to grow, right? So,
yes. Yeah. So we're always interviewing.
Yeah. And I just wanted to I want to get it out. When it comes to commercial cleaning, what is there somebody you're actually after? Do banks make the most sense to you? Do schools make sense to you? Do dental offices? What makes sense to you for a commercial cleaning? If I was a commercial facility, how would I know that I should be calling Emily's Cleaning Services?
Insurance offices, accounting offices,
So when you say insurance or accounting, are you talking about office buildings, like Class A office buildings that maybe don't open until 8, open
Right.
until 9?
Right.
So you're looking for commercial cleaning businesses that can be cleaned between 4 a.m. and 8 a.m.
8 a.m.
Is that fair?
That's fair. Yep.
Okay,
And we
good.
do a couple restaurants too, where we do their bathrooms and we do their dining areas before they open. So we do
Do you
them
do
like
kitchens?
we don't do kitchens.
Yeah, neither do I. I hate cleaning
Yeah, they
kitchens,
don't.
but good for you. I wouldn't.
But we do
have.
them between like 8:30 and 10. We can get to them because they don't open until 11 usually.
Got it. Yeah, they usually. Yeah.
And then we use some manufacturing plants because we can do them during the day. So we have a couple that we do from 7 a.m. until 11:30, 12.
Oh, okay. So
Metal-
you're talking again about bathrooms, common space, offices, just during the day.
Yeah. So if like the
Yeah.
manufacturing plants, we take care of the whole thing,
Oh, okay.
all the
Okay.
offices, cafeteria, everything. We do the bathrooms.
So I'm going to say you're open to everything that can be cleaned between 4 and 3.
And 3 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now everybody knows.
Yeah.
Utica area. How big of a geography from Utica? How far are you going out? Is
We
it
go
a
out
30-mile radius?
about 25 to 30 tops.
25. Okay.
Yeah, we go to Rome, which is not,
Okay.
it's about a 20-minute ride from here.
Okay.
And then Clinton, Holland Patton, Barneveld,
Okay.
Ilion. We do some stuff in Ilion and Frankfurt, Schuyler.
Okay. Now everybody knows. Good.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to make sure. I just want to make sure that we got the geography down. We get exactly what you're after for your customer. And that's it.
I appreciate it,
Emily,
Ralph.
so much. Emily's Cleaning Services. Amy DeVries.
DeVries.
DeVries. I'm so
DeVries.
sorry.
It's okay.
Ralph,